Welcome to Entrepreneurial Shades of Grey. I'm Dani Dowse. This is my co-host Chelsey Sayasan, and it has been officially 3 months since we launched this podcast, Chelsey.
I know.
How crazy is that?
It's really wild because time has flown by, believe it or not. A lot of planning, especially on your part, my friend, has been put into this room, this specific podcast, our guests, our topics, and everything in between. And now that we're like just kind of coasting in it, it feels nice to just take a pause now that we're in 2026, think back on 2025.
We've had some incredible guests.
Yes.
And some amazing key points that have just resonated and stayed with me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think you're right. Taking a pause to just kind of reflect back on some of those more memorable quotes and moments will kind of help us to soak it in a little bit more.
I know. Before we do that, though, I do want to tell folks, because I'm not sure if we ever really had the chance to deep dive into this. This room, this podcast has been Dani's work baby, and she has done such a good job raising it, let me tell you.
Thank you.
This was a dream of yours for a little bit of time. You came up to me. I was immediately on board with it. I've just learned so much through it. Take me back to when you thought like this would be a great idea, not only for Fox 10, but for us too.
So this goes back a little over a year ago, and it actually was something that was presented as a seed by our general manager. He didn't just talk to me, but he talked to the entire section that was over by my desk. He was just kind of talking about what he wanted to do with this room. This room used to be our audio room. And he was, he had this vision for podcasting, and he talked about how he was going to turn this room into a podcast room, and he said that it would be open for really anybody in the building who had a good idea for a show to come and talk with him about, to see if it was something that they could do. And a year had gone by, time had gone by, and what sparked it for me was actually the Saraland podcast that I do gave me the confidence. I do that with Laurel Flowers. That was her idea, and she envisioned it and asked me to come alongside and co-host with her. And once I started doing it with her, I realized that I could do it, because for me, it wasn't an issue of if I can do it, it's do I have the time to do it? Do I have the energy to do it, the mental capacity to do it? And so that was kind of like a training wheel for me to see if it was something that I could take on. And so I knew that I would have a team here, because Laurel does a lot of the editing and the back end work for the Saraland podcast. It's called What's Up Saraland, by the way. And on this one, we've got the resources of the television station. And so once I got my footing in that one, I started brainstorming around ideas that could complement what we do as far as the sales side of things and the business side of things. And I just, I came to you and presented the idea. And once you said you were on board, I just sat down and I mapped it out and presented it to our GM. And we talked about it. I was back and forth in his office quite a few times, hashing things out. I may have gotten on his nerves a little bit because I was, wanting to make sure that all the things happen. And he just kind of let me do it.
He did. Yeah.
He did. I mean, when he approved the idea for the podcast, do you remember when George came to us and was like, what are we going to do? What color? And Chelsey sent him my way. She's like, go talk to Dani.
Go talk to Dani, because what color to paint the room? I don't know.
Right. And so I didn't know that was going to be something that I would get to be a part of. Right. And I love it because it's so personal, and I try to do something. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I try to do something that any and everybody, no matter what, they could come in and use the space and it would work for them.
Right.
And so, I just took it on and started mapping things out, and he let me. And so I was just like, hey, can I just get the company card and just, just go and do this thing? And I said, what's my limit? And he said, don't be stupid. I said, I understand the assignment. He said, I don't think you do.
And you're like, I got it.
But I
and
did.
you weren't. You
No,
weren't.
I wasn't stupid.
You were conscious.
Yeah, I was
Of
conscious.
spending and everything.
Yeah, and it was great. And I really do feel proud of the fact that he trusted me
Yeah.
to build the room. Like I said, we're still working out some kinks, and we're still working through things, but it's not so bad.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, she's really helped this room grow. We've got our sports podcast with Emily.
Yes.
Also, so I think the podcast and the stories that will be told in this room will continue to flourish because of the hard work that you put in. So
You're
I'm
so
grateful.
sweet. Thank you.
I'm grateful for you. I'm also just grateful for everything I've learned going into this. I told Dani from day one, I was like, listen, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't know much about stock market. I don't know much about, I can handle our own personal family budget, but other than that, I'm not in this world of business. And she's like, that's fine. You have been in that, Dani. But for me personally, what I've loved through these stories, every single one of them, is not only talking about how local businesses make an impact here on the Gulf Coast and around, but also just realizing and kind of really just dumbing it down to realize that this was just a dream of these people who sit in this couch across from us. And because of that dream, their dreams are coming true, but also helping people across our area too. And that's just the power of local business.
For sure. And something about being in the room with people who have that kind of drive, vision, it's inspiring. Whether it inspires you to want to be an entrepreneur or just be a better version of yourself, right? It feels good when you're in the room with people who have vision and who have tenacity and who have passion and who've built something from the ground up. And,
who have failed too.
Who have failed and are transparent about sharing that, And honestly, anybody who has really stepped off into business would be lying if they said they've never failed.
Right.
That's a part of it. And that's what builds you to prep you for that next thing, because you got to learn how to fail. If you think about it, if you get all the way to the top and you never fail, what happens when you fail there?
Right.
It's going to crush you. You're not even going to know how to recuperate or be resilient. You know what I'm saying? You've got to take those hits as they come, learn from them, grow from them, build on them. The transparency and the common denominators too. Have you noticed, when we have people come in, they talk about discomfort, having to be comfortable being uncomfortable is a big thing, not just in entrepreneurship, but really in just maturing in life.
Right. I think what's so cool about that, it's just discomfort in all areas, which just makes me more comfortable as a human being, because I don't think there's anyone out there who's comfortable with everything. But for some of our guests we've had on, it's been discomfort when they were talking about building their business, maybe financially, scaling back. For others, it's discomfort sitting here, being in the spotlight on a podcast like this. And so it's really cool just to kind of see how everyone is human at the end of the day and the sacrifices that they make for their business.
Yeah. And, that's a great point that you make too, because we don't, even though these are longer formatted interviews, we don't get to even then talk about everything, but it helps me to have just a greater respect, because entrepreneurs, they have to wear so many hats. Like you mentioned, just sitting here doing this podcast can be intimidating for some, but they're the face of their brand. And so they not only have to be the boss and lead people and hire people and fire people and manage things and manage budgets and do payrolls and take care of the taxes and all of the things, but then sometimes they have to get in front of the camera. And this may come naturally to a television personality, but the entrepreneur, their gift and their skill set is whatever their brand is. And it could be very much behind the scenes. Right?
I think about JJPR. Her whole business is behind the scenes. So I remember she was just a little bit nervous to be here, and she
did amazing.
Rocked it.
She really
did. By
the
way, I learned so much, and I have so much respect for her as a woman in this business.
Yeah.
But that's quite literally a business that is built to be behind the scenes of other businesses.
It is. And, like you said, you just gain so much respect because she stepped into something uncomfortable by coming here and rocked it. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. You don't know sometimes what you're going to expect. And a lot of times what I've learned about fears, when I face them, they were never as scary as I thought they were. Fear's like a bully, right? When you look it in its eyes and you confront it, it like bows down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, really, I thought she was a great interview. You know who else really touched my heart? And I hate that you missed this interview.
Rocky. Yeah.
Freeman.
I hate I missed it.
I'm telling you, she's, we talked about grief, navigating grief. She lost her husband, Keith, last year. And when I tell you, Chelsey, the wisdom that she's gained through grieving, it just blows my mind. Her perspective, it is, it's so wise.
Right.
You know, she chose to honor Keith before he passed away with a celebration of life, which is incredible.
Right.
To honor someone in that way. But she just talked about looking it head on. They talked about it. They were fortunate enough to know that his time was near. And they were able, she says she considers that a blessing and a gift because they were able to talk about things. They were able to settle some affairs and all of that. But just to hear her perspective on approaching something that a lot of people are terrified to even think about.
Right. Or honestly, too, especially when it comes to grief, I can only imagine the loss felt when it's the grief of a spouse and a business partner, to have the courage to come sit here and do that, where a lot of people mentally can't even tap into that because it's too much, and understandably so, it's too much. But she chose to sit here and share his story and her story, which is amazing.
So proud of her. I'm going to share a little behind the scenes TV trick too. So you and I talked about this. You know, sometimes when people automatically come in and they know that the cameras are rolling, it's normal. They're, you know, a little nervous. And as soon as the interview wraps up, the camera's still rolling. But something about knowing that the interview is over makes them just open up. And that's what happened with Rocky. That we wrapped the interview. She did great during the interview. And then we wrapped it up. And the parts in there where the tears were flowing, but she was still talking with passion. She thought the interview was over. And I just kept rolling, kept switching the shots. In case you guys ever see my hands doing this over here, this is me switching camera shots. I'm doing it all. I'm doing it. And I kept rolling. I learned that from guess who?
Yo mama.
Renee Dowles.
That's right.
Renee Dowles taught me.
Yes.
You know, she never, when she would go up for an interview, she would tell her photographers, we're not doing all the 3, 2, 1s. You know, she walks up and she starts talking, and they better be rolling because that's when you get the best sound. You know, I'm telling you. So anyway, I kept rolling with Rocky, and I asked permission at the end of it. I said, you know, you really opened up at the end, and we were still rolling. Is it okay with you for me to share that? She gave me the biggest hug because she knew that she shared with more freedom to release it. You know. But she is an amazing person, period. But that interview, I encourage, if you have not listened to it, go back and check it out.
She's an amazing woman.
Yeah,
she really is. We've had some really big guests on the show, some that you may recognize now, the mayor of Mobile and his wife, Lucy, the first lady of Mobile, which is so fun. I've known Lucy for years. I've worked with her for 7 years. And then to see them now in this stage of life with their family, I'm sure is so exciting for them, and very busy too. So we were super honored to have them because at that point in time, he was interim mayor, and I'm sure his time and his schedule was filled. So we're grateful for Marriage Chair Goddess and Lucy to come on. And then what you haven't seen yet, our friends and folks with a Senior Bowl that's coming
that's
up.
a great one.
Yeah, so make sure you tune in for that one because that one's going to be really good. But I just think about, you know, we've hit a lot of small local businesses, which have been great, but we've also hit some of the big ones like Senior Bowl and all that kind of stuff too. And I've just learned so much and how similar maybe a mom and pop shop is. And obviously there are a lot of differences too, but then how similar and how different something like a national, you know, brand like Senior Bowl is compared to one of our just local small businesses. It's really cool to see the difference.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that conversation with Senior Bowl with Drew and Molly. What I was pleasantly surprised to hear was Drew did not try to sugarcoat anything. Like, he was transparent about perspective, like, you know, talking about the athletes when they're coming in. I mean, it was an honest conversation, and he didn't try to come in and just, you know, make it seem like everything was, what am I trying to say?
I mean, he was honest about what the flaws in his opinion were before he got there. And since he had been part of it on the coaching side of things, how he changed things.
Yes.
And what he's changing and some of the flaws, like with the schedules and with some of the athletes not actually playing the game.
Yes.
His real raw thoughts about all that.
That part, yes.
He sure was.
I couldn't get it out, but yes.
I mean, and I respected that so much. I went home and I told my husband, Johnny, I was like, I can't wait for you to hear this because there's so much good information, not only about football, but just about the Senior Bowl that I didn't know.
Yeah. I think Chelsey shines in this interview too. You did so good.
Thank you.
I told her afterwards, I said, you did great.
You
did a really good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Who else have we talked to? You know, Rita Nicole Wright, when we talked to her, she said something that stayed with me when and I know this, but she talks about fitness, obviously, and how fitness is not a strive for perfection, but for health. And I thought about that. We were just talking just before we started recording this about my intention about different areas of health, mental, physically, and whatnot. And so my approach to just life, business, all the things that I'm involved in right now really center around like health and capacity. And I think that perspective should apply to entrepreneurship and business too, because you're never going to be able to, if you hold yourself to perfection in your business, you're going to have bad mental health. It's going to be depressing,
right? Because
there are going to be times where, you know, you're going to have to pivot. There are going to be disappointments. There are going to be things that you're learning as you go, money that you didn't realize you were going to have to spend, investments that maybe didn't work out the way that you thought. But with the mindset of, I'm not aiming for perfection, but I'm just aiming to build something healthy and something good, and I'm going to do the best and learn and grow as I go. I just love that overall perspective for fitness and for life.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just the key to consistency and what kind of role that can play, no matter what that looks like for you. So I've really enjoyed our first 3 months in this. I think it's been so much fun.
It has.
Our first quarter and the last quarter of 2025, which was so much fun. And I really look forward to 2026. We've got some big ideas and we're reaching out to people as we speak and recording podcasts. And so each and every episode, I'm just sitting here like a sponge, soaking it all up.
Same. So we hope that you guys will continue to follow us on this journey. Every Wednesday, we drop a new episode. Now, keep in mind, Senior Bowl week.
Yes.
We're actually going to drop that one on Monday because we're talking about the week of activities for Senior Bowl week. So we're doing a special edition launch the week of Senior Bowl. So that one will be on Monday.
Yes, and we'll remind you on Studio 10 that day too that things are changing up. But we're just so grateful for you too. We wouldn't be able to sit here and do this if it weren't for you. So thank you for tuning in and having these conversations with us each and every week. It means so much to me, and I know it means so much to Dani too.
Yes, and thank you for your feedback. We've been getting emails about interest in being on the podcast. People have been reaching out to us personally about it, and we really appreciate it. This is something that we're growing together.
That's right.
We just thank you for being a part of this with us.
Here's to 2026,
my
friends.
Let's do it. This episode of Entrepreneurial Shades of Grey is brought to you by Honest Air, Plumbing, and Electric.